Welcome back to my Unity tutorial series. This is the third and last part of setting the mood for our RPG. Before I'm gonna tell you what we're going to do in this session, I just want to give you a bit of a heads up what is happening with this series. At the end of this session, what we will have is a little scene over here that will be a good starting point for any following tutorial. So the way I'm planning to do this is that I will have some speed tutorials later on where I just make this whole area just a bit more pretty, and where I'll just finish things like this river that is just lost in space. And yeah, I'm just also going to work on those parts, but this is all going to be in speed tutorials, so I will just raise up the speed, because there's nothing new happening. I will not do anything what I haven't done in any of those first three tutorials. So this will just be adding textures to the terrain, adding some plants, adding raising, lowering terrain, stuff like that. So nothing fancy. I might add some buildings, then I would put a asset list at the beginning of the speed tutorial. We'll see about that. But basically this will be the main branch of my tutorial series. And starting from that, I will just branch off tutorials that focus on a specific part, some essential parts to an RPG I want to look at. And once I'm done with this part, then I'm gonna incorporate it in this main branch. So I already got some ideas of where to go, what branches to start off. The first one I'm gonna do is characters, because that's NPC characters. That's something that is just very important to me in making or playing a game. Like, if you just run through the woods all the time, that's just a bit boring. So this is the first thing I'm gonna start off, and yeah, I'll see where it goes from there. So yes, for this session, here's the list of assets that I've imported. I only imported them, I didn't do anything else. So we got a wooden bridge, we got some town assets, the fantasy creator, town creator. I got some pavement and another character, and I also have a short list of optional assets that you can add in. If you know other free assets for making a medieval game world, write it in comments or just add them to your own project. If you bought some nice ones, feel free to add them in. Those here are just some free suggestions so everybody can follow along. Okay, let's get started then. The first thing I want to do is clean up. So we have the 3D Forge assets, which is the optional blacksmith I mentioned. So I'm gonna put that in objects. And we have the wooden bridge. I'm gonna put this in objects. We have pavement texture pack, we'll go to textures. The fantasy and the town creator go both move to objects. This simple medieval house, also an optional asset, will go in here. And I'm gonna create one more folder. I'm gonna always do that wrong. I'm gonna call it characters. So okay, and I'm gonna pull this all-star character library in here. And excuse me, and our good old overlord. Why does it always jump back here? I don't know. All right, their terrain assets Oh well, they got textures and objects. That's mean, putting those together. Anyways, I'll leave it as like that. You feel free to order things the way you like it, but I think it's highly important to keep your assets somehow sorted, keep your hierarchy sorted, because yeah, I've done it once to not do that. And at the end I had to scroll in the hierarchy in there. So it's not pretty. It's, yeah, don't do that. And it's also not fun to start sorting things out once you have a mess. That's too late. Okay, let's get started with the bridge. That's the first thing I want to do. So the problem is that this is higher, this edge is higher than this one, which was on purpose, just because I wanted to elevate the castle a bit above this part. So we're gonna add parts of the bridge. So the way this model works is there are pieces you can use. I want pieces with collision, prefabs with collision, so they all, you see they have a box collider already in it, or mesh collider depending on the shape of it. And that helps us so we can actually walk on the bridge and don't fall through. And here you see the different pieces. I'm not gonna do anything fancy here. I'm just gonna actually just take this part. And once again, we see how massive our terrain is and how tiny our assets. Yeah, that's just the way it is for now. I'm gonna rotate it, place a part piece of the bridge on the most narrow point of the chasm here. Okay, like somewhere in the middle, about the right height. And now I'm gonna create an empty. This empty, I'll make it a child of the wooden bridge, reset the position. Gonna rename it. You can do that with slowly double clicking or right click rename, I believe. Yeah. So this will be our, let's call this, I'll make this part of a castle, so I'll call it castle bridge. And now I'm gonna unparent it and reparent it, the bridge to our empty, and you see now it's already at the root position. Okay, the first thing I want to do before I start duplicating it and putting things together is actually check the size of it. So here's our overlord. He's still running really fast. Remember, we set this up this way, so in running and jumping I can actually jump across here. Later on that won't work anymore. The size would work for our character, but I think it's a bit small, and since our chasm is that big, I'm gonna increase the size of our bridge. And let me see, I just do that on our empty. Hope I'm not doing anything wrong here. So let me just check that. Yeah, okay, that's not enough. Let's take 2, 2, 2 and push that out here. Try it again. Whoa, oh, yeah, that's fun. I can change direction in midair. That's some feature we gotta disable later on. Okay, so I think that's a good width. The height is not proportional to our character at all. So we're gonna change the Y value. And with that, I think we have a bridge that looks a bit squeezed, but works. Yeah, I think that's all right. Okay, now we can start creating more pieces. So what you always can do is hover with the mouse over your scene view, press F, and you focus the object you selected in a hierarchy. Can also just double click, same effect. What I'm gonna do now is press Ctrl D to duplicate the bridge, and I'm just gonna use this handle here to slide it out. If you don't see this handle, press W or this Ctrl. So something like that. And I'm amazed. The first time I did that, I actually had to use like 7 or 8 duplicates of that. So this time the bridges, the chasm I created is not as big. I'm gonna create another one just to be safe. Push that in the ground. So I also don't want to spend too much time on the bridge, so I'm gonna do it more pretty in a speed tutorial. Now it's just gonna have to work. So now I added 3 pieces to the bridge. Now I wanna still bring it in the right position, so I select the empty. And as we see, we need to still bridge the height difference. We're going to do this with rotation. I'm going to use the X rotation, and if you press on X, you get this little slider. And now you see it's a bit too big, but I'm not going to try to add in pieces. There are stairs here we could use. Gonna do that later. For now, I'm just gonna make a bridge a bit shorter and move it. Adjust the rotation once more. Almost there. So let's just quickly try it. Now I don't even have to jump. There's our bridge. Of course, we cannot leave it like that, but it's a starting point. I don't see right now any water. Oh, there's the water. Beautiful. Just takes a while. So yeah, now we're standing here on the bridge in front of our beautiful waterfall. Just the sound missing. Fishes not jumping yet in the water. All coming later. But we got some nice sky effects. Beautiful. Okay, need to move quickly now because I don't want this tutorial to get too long. I'm gonna add the castle bridge to the castle. As I said, castle is just an empty positioned here. I just want to have an empty collecting all the objects of this area. And I'm gonna create a new empty. Actually, I'm just gonna create one in our bridge. And I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna reset the rotation and move it, let's say, over here. That seems like a good point. And I'm gonna call this village. So this empty will contain a village we place around here. The first thing I want to do is just adjust our terrain a bit. So I'm gonna go low in opacity, brush size a bit larger, and yeah, I just want to create a bit more hills around it, because right now this is one big flat plane. If you're walking on it, if you're running on it with our overlord, it's not looking very pretty. Not that my hills make it more pretty now, but it changes things up a bit, and that's already good. So I can just make it a bit more random. So now the first thing I want to do is just put in some objects so we know where our village is. For that, I'm using the town creator light. And here we got a whole set of houses and pieces of houses. I actually managed, because sometimes I think, well, can you actually make a good house out of those pieces? I tried it, it works. So feel free to create your own houses. For now, I'm just gonna use the prefab houses. We have the house 3 and a roof. Actually just gonna add that right away to our empty. We have a townhouse. We have a storage. Hey. Yeah, townhouse didn't print. So this is the houses we got here. Oh, we got a lantern. Never forget a lantern. So that's it for this one. And I'm just gonna add, I said they are optional, so if you don't have them, that's all right. I'm just gonna add the simple medieval house, and I'm gonna add our smithy and a forest village. Okay, just leave it as that. Hope I didn't forget anything. And there it is, our little village. Looks a bit cramped up right now. So let's change that. Again, if you press W, you get the moving widget. So just gonna place those houses. And the thing with that is they're from different asset packages, so even that's not what I was planning on, but maybe that's good unwanted demonstration of what happens if you just mix up all different assets. You get this effect that they just don't fit. The style doesn't fit. That's why, for example, when we're going to talk about characters, we really need to look into that, where and how to get enough characters from the same source, because otherwise the quality, the way it looks and feels will just not match. So it's not awfully pretty what I'm putting together here. Sorry about that, but yeah, the idea was just to create a little village, 4 houses village. Let's just duplicate, Control D this house, because you can actually walk in it. So I think we just can have a second one rotated so nobody knows. And now I realize my mistake. We still got those settings. Sorry about that. Those settings were still, the scale was still the same as on the bridge. On the bridge it works. We want all the children to scale as well. Here that doesn't work. Now we get this funny effect that actually the houses are scaled. Oh, sorry. The houses are scaled funny. Let's just have a look how bad it is. And then decide if I need to get them out again. Yeah, cannot leave it as that. I cannot even go in because of the colliders. But yeah, here you see like this house and this, they look alike. Same artist, I suppose, and same company. This one is a different one again, and this one is once again a different one. So you can tell that they don't really fit together. Maybe this and this, I don't, no, not really. So yeah, it's always helpful to either have a large pack or even better, create your own assets. I'm just gonna delete those two houses because I really want us to be able to go in there later on. So I'm gonna get this one again. That was house 3 with roof. Where are you? Cannot even see it right now. Oh, it's somewhere over there. That means it didn't get the parent. So reset and reset. Sorry that takes so long. Yeah, that looks much better, much bigger. That's what we want. Just need to be a bit careful. If you look inside the house, it got a floor to it. If we put it too low, then the floor will be beneath the ground. Don't want that. Unless you like grass in your living room. And I'm just gonna have 2 of those. And as for the lantern, that one's weird right now. I'm gonna delete it. Takes too much time now. Okay, so this is our village. And if I gotta position the dude over there. If we go to it, we can actually enter. Here we got the ground in the house. Enter those 2 houses. There is an interior for the smith as well, but you gotta put it together yourself. I've done that once, takes some time. Maybe part of a speed tutorial. But yeah, that's it. And of course it doesn't really look much like a village yet. It's just some houses standing together, but mainly we would have to fix this using more assets, more details. What I'm gonna do for now is add some new textures. I'm gonna click edit texture, add texture, and we imported this, sorry, wrong one, this pavement textures pack. The first ones, if you open it up, are more like, yeah, I think more modern, or at least too good, too even looking textures, as that I want to have them in our town square. So I think starting 17, 16 or so, they get a bit more rough. So yeah, I'm actually going to use this one. That looks all right. No, I don't want to open it. I just want to pull it in here. And we got some normal maps for these. So here's our new texture. Gonna use, oh, that's too big. Decent sized brush. For now, I'm just gonna use target strength 1. So I'm gonna, if you double click it, you can edit it. I'm gonna get the size down to 10 maybe. 5 then? Okay. And let's see if there's another one we can add to create some, break the repetition of the tiling. I'm gonna use that. Maybe not the best ones, but yeah, I just want to illustrate quickly that it makes already a difference to just add some textures to the ground. And I'm gonna get the brush size down, target strength down, so of course you can see the tiling, so I would need to add more. Actually, let's use some of that sand just as a dirt. It's also helpful if you don't have too many. Makes sense, I guess. Because first of all, you don't can at some point, if there's 100 textures in here, it will get difficult, I suppose. And let's take some rock as well. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's also, of course, performance-wise at some point. Sorry, there was a short break in here. But yeah, we're almost done already anyways. So let's just have a look how it looks like. So yeah, I mean, you can see the tiling of the textures, but if you take more time, then can get that away. Let's just look for nice grass texture. Oh, sorry. Yep. Oh, that one's pretty. Gonna add this. I'm gonna leave it at 15 for now. And first, yeah, I'm just gonna roughly add some grass to our scene. And maybe add a bit more grass here around the village. Make it a bit stronger. That adds again another dimension to it. And I'm actually gonna use this pavement as a path. That's probably not ideal, but I just want to create a bit of a path to our bridge. And from our bridge further onto the castle. We actually still cannot get into the castle. But yeah, that's something either you fix by yourself or wait for one of the speed tutorials where I'm gonna do it. So the last thing I want to do with our little village is add some grass, because we have not added any grass yet. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. Not that you would know. So this is for grass and bushes and stuff, like the menu. So I'm gonna use I'm just gonna use the grass. The way it works, it's a 2D texture. You can put settings in here, how high you want it, max, min, so what color range it can have between healthy and dry. Yeah, billboarding basically means that if your character looks at it, then this is what you see, like it's facing you, and that's a nice effect, because then it seems a bit like a 3D object while it's actually just a 2D texture. And I'm just gonna roughly add some grass patches here. So the way it works, it's now quite dense, and let me just do this. target strengths reduce if you adjust the target strength, or sorry, the opacity, is it? Then you get less. Or you get less grass. Then it's not as dense. Thing is, you only see it with the camera if you're close. So, I mean, that's a setting could change, I believe. Okay, I don't want to do it too much, just to illustrate how it works. Let's have a look. Well, so it's the same with our character. You see, like, if I'm too far away, then I don't see the grass yet. It's like going like a wave across here. It's quite high for a character, so would need to adjust that. Need to be careful. If you put it here, then you have grass in the house. Like, even if I would place it here, like, then it would just be in the house, so that wouldn't be ideal. Unless, again, you like grass in your living room. So these are settings we would need to adjust, but since this is just a dummy character and this was just some dummy grass put quickly on here, I'm not gonna bother with it right now. Another thing we see is that we have this occlusion from our area, so everything is like glowing white. We can actually turn this off. If you go to window lighting, sorry, not lightning. That would be something else to do in another tutorial, lighting. Yeah, you have here an ambient source. So if we, instead of skybox, choose a color and set the color to black. I hope that helps. No, it does not. That is just the ambient light, sorry. Reflection source. I think we're getting closer. That's it. So now with that, it is pitch black at night. Need to think if you really want it all black, because for playing, if you have a day and night cycle, that might be tricky unless your hero is carrying a torch. But yeah, right now you can see, since I put the ambient color or took that off, then everything is getting quite black. So let's see. So you see now the houses were glowing in the dark. That's also not what I want. So these are settings you just gotta play around with. If I find a setting that I really like, then I will share it in one of the tutorials. So, but yeah, it looks already a bit more like a game scene. The only thing I want to still add is our character. That's I think the nicest free one besides the Overlord that I could find. But yeah, more on characters later. If you go to All-Star Character Library, Amazing Amazons, then you have here FBX file and prefab. I'm gonna choose the prefab. How about place her in the house, because that's where people, oh no, then I always need to run in the house if I want to talk to her. That's not so helpful. Place her on her feet. And let's quickly check. She's part of the village. And this one comes with, sorry, I'm still on lighting, so I need to go back on to inspector. This one comes with animations. So we have here script character demo controller. Oh, didn't mean to open that up yet. Oh, sorry, once more, there was a short cut. Again, so you can follow where how I'm getting to this view. If you click on the prefab, let's move to scene view. that's her. You see here is an animator. This is part of Unity's Mechanim system, which I'm planning to work with in this tutorial series. Here's a character demo controller if you would want to move her around yourself and try out the animations. As you can see, there are quite a few animations that come with this character. Let's see if we can. And as you can see, they are not necessarily meant, like they don't look quite alike. They are not unique to this character, so this is Unity animations, but or at least this character is. I'm not sure, don't want to say anything wrong here, so maybe they are unique to the character, I don't know. But you could use them on another character. Anyways, back on track. If you go to the animator and double click female demo controller, this animation controller also shows you here in the under assets where you find it. And if you double click it, you'll open an animator window. You can also navigate to window, open the not animation but animators. Those are different things. And here you see something like what animation is chosen for which state, and what I just want to do, like right now, if we start, then our character is kind of jumping around wanting to hit somebody, and I'm just gonna look for more. Yeah, this is just an idle animation. So I'm gonna just, you know, you just take the FBX here, .fbx, and pull it in your animator view. And I'm just gonna make a transition from any state to idle. And I'm gonna select this one that it goes from any state to like, you don't have to break it actually, like I'm gonna break the whole chain of animations right now. Delete. Just because I right now only need this idle animation. So let's start. So all I did was delete actually the weapon state. And there's our character standing. And she's not, maybe should have shown you before, like she's just jumping like in a box fight, how do you call that in English? Sorry about that. Yeah, so she's just standing there, not doing anything. Actually, we can walk through her. That's maybe not so helpful, but I'm not gonna bother about that right now. So with that, that was the last piece to this tutorial session. With that, we have a village, we have another person to talk to, we have two sections where different things can happen. Obviously we would start here, we would want to go here because castles are cool, so we would need to cross the bridge, and maybe there's someone standing and not letting us through, maybe an enemy, maybe we need to do a quest first, something like that, something along those lines. We have different areas, different terrain areas. We have a beach area, we have this will be more like a forest area, not yet. We have a mountain range, we have a sky system, day and night system, we have water, like lots of cool things in there already, and this is, I think, a great starting point to start into further detailed tutorials. So once again, I will have some speed tutorials where I just do things, please don't expect anything cool in there. As I said before, I'm not an artist, so maybe you just or maybe I'll show you first the end result and then you judge by that if you want to watch the video or not. But feel free to work with that yourself, be creative, just do something what you like. And then there will be the branch tutorials that will go off to different aspects. So that will be a bit more the nitty-gritty stuff. We will do a lot of programming in those. Up until now we haven't done any of programming, so that will definitely come. And I will probably also use some more free assets. If I do, I will keep it as I have done so far, just give you a list and you can import the assets. Okay, thank you for watching, and hope to see you in, or hope you hear me one of the next tutorials. Bye.